So why am I holding a steamer, and what does it have to do with breathing? Now, I got this from Boss Rutten. I didn't get this from Boss Rutten, but Boss Rutten, the UFC ex-champion, MMA professional, he gave me this example in understanding your diaphragm. And your diaphragm is the muscle that's responsible for breathing. And it's a great tool, it's a great visual to understand how it works. So your diaphragm separates the two cavities in your abdomen area, your chest cavities. So you've got one up here and one down here, and the diaphragm sits in between. And what it does is, as it contracts, okay, back and forth, it actually pulls your chest cavity down, and that's what allows your lungs to fill. Your lungs aren't a muscle. They don't do any action. They fill by pressure changes. And so the diaphragm creates that pressure change. And it's an interesting muscle because we can consciously control it. I can hold my breath, but if I'm not focused on it, my breathing will take place automatically. Just like if I'm sleeping or just like if I'm running, it's very, very hard for me to control my breathing. It's gonna rapidly, increase or decrease depending on the situations that I'm in, but I can force myself to stop it or slow it down or speed it up. So it's a cool muscle, but it's just, it's designed for breathing. Well, if you look at the structure of this, it is 3D. It is round, it is circular. And so with breathing, a lot of times we focus on like belly breathing, if somebody wants to teach somebody breathing. But what I would like to challenge you today is to think about it in a 360-degree way. So this means not just breathing into the belly forward, but breathing into the sides and breathing into the back. I've made a video on this with Elliot Hulse and Hickson Gracie talking about breathe into your balls or breathe into your back. And the ideas are similar, but I think practicality, one might work better for you. Meaning, if I think about breathing into my back, for me, for JD, I end up getting that three-dimensional, deeper feeling and suction for my lungs. So I get a better breath with that. Some people might, by breathing into their balls or breathing into their belly, breathing down, might get a better breathing technique, breathing method out of it. So the idea is, again, to maximize this diaphragm's potential. And if you think about it in that three-dimensional way, it might give you a better understanding because it sits right here and it pulls and it allows the suction to end up happening in your lungs by that pulling down and opening up. As you exhale, it contracts again, and it goes out the other way. The pressure leaves because there's no longer that suction coming down. It's not pulling down, it's coming back up and returning to its starting position. So contracting and then relaxing here. Now, you do have other muscles that are responsible for breathing out as well. You've got intercostals and things like that, and they're all used in breathing. But this is one of those important ones, and the visual can help you. So as you're doing this, again, thinking about things opening up and expanding can allow you to get a better maximal breath. Now, the key to this type of breathing, and the reason why it's so important, is because you want to get more oxygen transferred. This is the whole reason why we breathe, is to get oxygen. Well, how do your lungs work? Your lungs sit here, and when that pressure change happens and it pulls down, we're trying to get oxygen deeper, because the deeper that the lungs go, if you look at them, they're like a tree branch, and they branch off and branch off and branch off, and every branch gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it gets one cell thick. And this is where the oxygen transfer happens, from cell to cell. So if we don't get a deep enough pull from our diaphragm, and we're not allowing enough oxygen in, we're going to have worse performance, not as good of brain function, and lower overall health. So for breathing, if we are breathing up high, and this is why a lot of people talk about belly breathing, is if we are breathing up high, in and out up here, that diaphragm is barely working and we're not getting that suction. Will you still get oxygen into your lungs? Yes. But is it going to be maximal? Is it going to be optimal for that oxygen transfer to happen at that cell-to-cell level? No. So think about it in the sense of at rest, am I getting 100% maximization of that diaphragm, meaning 100% capacity of my body to be able to transfer oxygen from the atmosphere through my lungs into my bloodstream? Is that happening? Or am I at maybe 50%? If I'm staying here and I'm breathing from up top, my neck and my shoulders and my upper chest, and I'm not getting that pull, it's doing this, and I'm not getting that deep, am I at 50%? Am I at 30%? Am I at 75%? Either way, you're not at 100%. So practicing breathing, why does Bas Rutten, I forgot to leave with that, why does Bas Rutten talk about breathing so much? Well, other than being a professional athlete, he's an entrepreneur and an actor. The guy does a lot of things, commentator. He created a product called the O2 Trainer. I have one in my room. I didn't bring it out here because I was focused on this. But what that does is that forces you to take in a stronger, deeper breath through your diaphragm because the tool has limited holes for breathing. So as you breathe in, you're sucking through this small hole. And when you do that, it forces you to breathe a little bit more controlled through your diaphragm. And then you exhale, and you can just exhale normally through it. So it's a great tool that I've used to help me work on diaphragmatic breathing, but also just to increase the horsepower and increase the strength of this muscle. If you're an athlete, doing conditioning is a way to get cardiovascular, cardiorespiratory training. The respiratory side of things is the breathing. But maybe my legs are fatigued. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm mentally out of it and I do not want to go do another run today or sprints or hit the bag or whatever it is that I'm doing for my athletic endeavor. Maybe I want to supplement some of that time with just sitting in a chair. That's what the device does. So I'll put a link to the O2 Trainer in here, but I wanted to give that visual. It was something that was on my mind. I actually also heard someone talk about breathing through like the back of your head, or breathing backwards, or breathing through your back. And those are all ideas that I've heard. And this is why, is because we've got this diaphragm that opens and closes, and it's 3-dimensional. Your body is not 2D, it's not flat, it's 3D. You have this torso area, and that's what's happening as you breathe in. So are you getting the maximum? Are you getting optimal breathing by using your diaphragm and those muscles that allow you to get the suction that is needed for your lungs to transfer the oxygen? Or are you up top here? All right. Another reason why you would want to help yourself breathe better, whether you're an athlete or not, is when I am breathing from up here, I create a lot of movement in through my scapula and my shoulder blades that can then create tension over time, especially if I'm someone that works at a desk and I am stiff in that area to begin with. I add more tension through this neck and upper shoulder area that is not useful to me in the grand scheme of things. I'm more stressed, I breathe that way, I don't get as much oxygen, which causes me to get more stressed, so you get this vicious cycle. If I'm breathing through my diaphragm, I don't have as much tension, I have better oxygen transfer, there's no telling that I'm gonna have less stress, but my perception of it will be better because I'm in a much more healthy state. So if I'm gonna solve the problem or if I'm gonna deal with it, I have a better starting point. Do you see where I'm going with that? So use your diaphragm to your advantage, and if you need help with that, get a tool like the O2 Trainer, because that's gonna help you learn how to breathe and use this diaphragm, and especially give you some more horsepower, give you some more strength in that muscle to be able to use that efficiently versus, again, using just your neck and your shoulders. When you're super tired and you're fatigued and you're sprinting, you're gonna use all of it. But at rest, we don't need to. And we want to avoid that excess motion in that area, and also at the same time maximize the entire reason why we're breathing is to get oxygen through that diaphragm muscle. So that's it for today. This tool, this idea can help you understand a little bit more about what's happening in your body so that maybe you can perform better on a daily basis, or if you're an athlete as well. That's it for today. Until next time, I'll see you then.